Hey guys, my name is Luca and I'm a London-based UI UX designer. You're all welcome to my new YouTube channel, which is called XD Guru. And here I will upload some tutorials for Adobe XD, which is the new design and prototyping tool that has been launched a few months ago by Adobe. At the moment it's only available for Mac as a free beta. Anyone can download it. According to Adobe, there will be a Windows release coming out by the end of the year, but at the moment it's only on Mac. The current version is missing a lot of important features in my opinion, like layers, like gradients, especially if you compare it to other tools like Sketch or even Photoshop. I think a lot of stuff it's really missing. But I have to say I've been using this tool for some days now and I really see some good potential in it. And I'm pretty sure that Adobe will manage to come up with a solid product in the next few months. And I could see myself start using it for real projects. What I really like about it is the lean approach that Adobe is taking. They're constantly asking for feedback to their users and they're basically basing their product roadmap on the features that their users are asking. They're releasing new versions every month, making really fast iterations. And this is really cool, I think, and it's really a way to build a product based on what your clients are telling you. I'll probably create more videos about the basics of Adobe XD in the future, highlighting every single tool and showing exactly what you can do with it. But for now, I would just like to start with a quick tutorial showing you how easy it is to come up with some simple but cool mobile designs. In this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to design these screens here. Basically, these are some iOS permission screens, which you generally see when you install new apps. And very often you're asked to grant access to your GPS location services, to your camera, to your contacts, or you're asked to allow them to send you push notifications. And this is just a clear, clean, and good-looking way of doing it without having to use the default iOS prompt. So I guess we can start. I will basically just show you how to reproduce these two designs. I don't think it's gonna take a long time, but bear with me, it's gonna be quite fun. So I guess we can start by creating a new file from the menu on top. And here you basically have a blank canvas where you're going to add your artboard. An artboard is basically an area where you will draw your designs on, and by clicking on this tool here on the left, artboard, or letter A on the keyboard, you will be able to select a bunch of default resolutions from very common devices for both mobile and desktop over here. And in our case, being an iOS design, we're gonna use the standard iPhone 6 artboard size. So as soon as you click, this will appear on the screen. The rest of the screen will be grayed out while your artboard will be highlighted in white. So you can move things around by using the select tool, which is the one on top here, or you can use the V key on the keyboard. And by clicking, you're just gonna move things around, objects on your canvas. And first thing to do here is to change the fill color. I already have some colors here pre-saved. I will show you later how to save color in this little section of the color picker. And let's use the purple first. So what we need to do now is create the little pin, the location pin, which I showed you earlier. This one here. And we can do this very easily using Adobe XD. I'll show you how. Basically, we need to use the ellipse tool, this one here. So we're gonna select it by clicking on it, and we're gonna draw a circle. In order to draw a perfect circle, you're gonna have to hold the Shift key on the keyboard, while if you're not gonna use it, you're gonna see something like this, like a very irregular ellipse. So that's a little trick that is gonna come in handy in the future. So once this is done, we're gonna come back to our select tool, or letter V, and we're gonna position the circle in the center of the document. As you can see, there are some guides on top that basically the circle will snap to. when it's perfectly centered. At this point we're going to double click on the circle, and what you see are these 4 anchor points. So by clicking on this you can basically modify the shape, as you can see here. And we're going to select the lower anchor point here, and we're just gonna drag it by holding shift also in this case, so that it just stays centered and it doesn't go crazy like this. So we pull it down a little bit until about here, and you can already see that it's starting to look like a little pin. So you select this anchor point again and you double click on it, and as you can see the anchor point changes from a curve to an angle, and here we go. We already have a sort of a shape that looks like a pin. So next thing to do here is to create a little hole within the pin. So we're going to use the ellipse tool again and create another circle in the center of the current shape, something like this. Let's just give it a little different feel so that you can really see what's happening here. So we are centering it at the very center of the current shape, and then by selecting both shapes with the select tool, we're going here on this icon, which is the subtract icon, as you can see, and we click on it, and there you go. Basically the shape on top got subtracted from the shape at the bottom, and it basically created a little hole. So let's have a look at how this looks compared to the original design. Yeah, there are still some differences. We need to make some adjustments. As you can see, it's smaller. So first of all, we're gonna decrease the size. You can do this by holding shift and just grabbing one of these anchor points here, and it's just gonna scale down, keeping all the proportions. This is very important because you're gonna use it a lot in the future. So always remember to use the shift key while decreasing or enlarging. We're gonna center it in the middle of the document, something like this, and we're gonna change the fill. Actually, we're gonna disable the fill by using this checkbox here, and we're gonna change the color of the border to white and increase the thickness to 3 pixels. And here we go. It looks more like the original design, maybe a bit smaller still. There you go. So next thing to do here is to create the first circle, which is gonna be around it. So we use the ellipse tool again, create a circle this size pretty much. We remove the fill, we change the border color and its size to 3 again, and then using the select tool again, we grab the circle and center it along with the pin. So right now we have this perfectly centered in the middle of the screen. So right now we're gonna create another circle, which is gonna be, we actually need to create 2 circles, a darker one and a slightly brighter one around the main shapes. So to do this, we're just gonna duplicate the current circle here. So you select it and you're gonna do duplicate from the menu, or you can just press Command D. So you're not gonna see it right now, but basically this circle, we have 2 circles right now, as you can see. So we're gonna use the Shift and Alt key all together, and we're gonna drag with the mouse, and this is what's going to happen. Basically you're gonna grab one circle and it's gonna keep the center in the middle, and the size is just gonna be increased so that you don't have to move it around and try to make it perfect. It's just gonna be like this. So next thing to do here is to change the feel of this circle. We select it and we're gonna give it like a black feel, and at the same time we should remove the border. So as you notice, this circle is covering the rest of our design, and this is something easy to fix at the moment. You can just use, you're gonna right click and click on send to back. So this circle will be sent to the very back of the document, basically between the purple layer and the pin. This is something that could have been much easier if we had layers, and probably users of Photoshop or Sketch will be a bit puzzled by this, but as far as I know, Adobe XD is already working on implementing layers, so it's probably gonna be one of the new features in the next couple of months. So now we're gonna change the opacity of the circle by selecting it, and we're gonna use the slider here, which is the opacity slider, and we're gonna put it down to about 20%, something like this. I think it looks good. Maybe we can make it a bit bigger, something like this. And now what we can do is duplicating again this circle, and again by using Shift and Alt and click and dragging, we're going to enlarge the circle underneath. There you go, something like this, which I think it looks pretty similar to the original design. Yeah, maybe it's not exactly the same, but looks quite similar. Let's just make sure one more time that all these elements are correctly centered, both vertically and horizontally. You can do that by following these guides, and it's gonna be snapping automatically in the center. So yeah, it all looks good, and I think we can move on to the text. So first thing we can do is to grab the little text that we have on top with the time and the phone carrier and stuff like this. We can do this easily by clicking on File, Open UI Kit, Apple iOS. And here we're gonna have a bunch of screens, default screen from Apple, and we can just pick one with the top bar in white, and we can simply select it by clicking on it with the select tool. So we're going to copy it by pressing Command C, as you would do normally. We go back to our file, and you just press Command V to paste it. It's gonna be pasted here. You can just move it back up to the top of the document, and here we go. So next we're gonna use the text tool to start typing our first text on the screen. Please give us access to your GPS location. It's very unreadable right now, so we're gonna have to change the fill color to white. We're going to change the font as well to a Google font, which looks quite good and it's very used in UI design, OpenSense. We're going to use the light version of it and probably increase a bit the size, about 26 pixels. And as a last change, we're going to center the text like this. So this is the final result. Let's make sure it's centered, dragging, and it looks quite good. So now we're going to duplicate this text and drag it down by holding Shift so that it's gonna be in line perfectly. And we're going to change the text. Let's have a look how it was. Okay. We will use it to show you a list of users around you. Smiley face. We're going to change the size of it at about 19 pixels. That looks okay. Make sure it's centered. And now what's left is to create the button. This one here. So we're gonna do this by using the rectangle tool. Drawing a little rectangle about this size. Yeah. We're going to remove the fill. Change the border color to white. We're gonna leave it 1 pixel, I think. And we're gonna use these little anchors here to just make the borders rounded. It's very easy. You can do it from here, or you can do it from here as well by changing the values, but as we're keeping every corner the same radius, it's just easier to do it that way. So we move this up a little bit, we move this up a little bit, maybe we make it slightly smaller. Yep. And then we duplicate the text again. I just used Alt click, which is a different way of easily duplicating text. Quite comfy. Okay, actually all in capital. Okay, got it. I'm just gonna use a different text style. I'm going to use semi-bold and probably go down with the size to about 14. Let's see how that looks. Make sure it's centered in the middle of the button. So probably this is a bit too big. Let's try to resize it a little bit. Something like this. Move it up. Yep. That looks better. I think we're done for this screen. So next thing we're gonna do is duplicate this screen so that we can create the other one here, the green one, which is very similar. It's just a matter of making a few small changes. So to duplicate this, you just select the name of the screen on top, Command C, Command V, and it's done. Duplicated. As easy as that. So we're gonna change the one on the left side, and we're gonna change the fill as a first thing using the green that was already saved. So the first thing to do here is to change the pin icon. We're going to change it to this icon here, like a bubble speech sort of thing. And also creating this icon is pretty easy. I'm just gonna zoom in, select the current one, get rid of it by clicking on the backspace key on the keyboard. And what we're gonna do is use a rectangle tool by creating a new rectangle. This size pretty much should work. We're going to erase the fill, change the border color to white, and change its size to 3 pixels as well. And we're going to use these little anchors here to make it a bit more rounded, to make the corners a bit more rounded. I think that works. And now we just need to create the little corner of the speech bubble. So we're gonna do that by using the pen tool, which is this tool right here. We're going to create a little triangle by setting some anchor points. First we click inside the little rectangle, then holding shift we go down a little bit, click again, holding shift again to have a 45 degrees angle. We do another click, and then we close the triangle like this. Here we go. So now we change the border to white, increase the size to 3 pixels, and then we're going to select both these shapes by holding shift and click so that the two are selected, and we're going to use this icon here, which is add, and the two shapes will be basically combined and form a nice speech bubble, which we're going to center in the middle of the circle. Zoom out a little bit, and it looks quite good. So at this point, the last thing to do is to change the text by having a look at how it was in the original example. Please accept push notification from us. Alright. And the other piece of text, we will notify you when you get a new message. There you go. So guys, I think that's it for this tutorial. I'm going to add the list of shortcuts that I used in the notes of the video, just in case some of you missed the one that are listed in the video. And thanks for watching. This was my first video, so it would be nice to get some feedback from you. Let me know if I was too fast, too slow, or if you don't understand whatever I'm talking about because of my accent. So yeah, just let me know and I'll try to improve it in my next video. Thanks a lot, enjoy.